this is very important if you are a claimer of the Israelite tradition or the Moorish narrative. My name is Black Jesus Buddha Muhammad, aka Saeed al-Mahdi, the 12th Moorish crown from Genesis 17:20. The story. Freedom, because you're not really free. Pardon me. Like, there was a time where you can actually leave your door open because you were so trustworthy of your neighbor. Freedom. Well, your children knew everybody else in the neighborhood because you had the same story. Freedom. Well, you were proud to say, I know this person I'm about to get sugar from. One second. Black Jesus Buddha Muhammad, as the sun sets, we have to really understand this proposition. Freedom. We're not free. We're not really a free people. We are a marginalized, compartmentalized Negro population. Living to survive. That is the literal statement for most black people, melanated people all over the world, is that we are just living to survive. We're not really free. Freedom is government, law, order, purpose, military, education, entertainment, food, and medicine. It is all of these things, but it comes with sequence. You cannot have a mango tree without first having a seed to plant. Freedom. Negroes in the West, what is your story? What is the purpose that you even work in? You see, the white man, he creates all of these technological advancements because it all correlates and corroborates with a story. The so-called black man in the West was taken from the East because before he was taken from the East, he was practicing a culture that fulfilled a purpose or story. The economics that he practiced within his culture or village was now substantiating or providing sustenance to the story that moved the people to work. Why do you wake up and breathe air and wake up and brush your teeth and wash yourself and get yourself prepared to go to work? Because you're just living to survive. That's not freedom. And what's going on here in America and all throughout the world where there's melanated people is that you have a bunch of people living to survive, but they're not really free and they're not happy at the same time. So it's really killing you slowly, like that song by Lauryn Hill, killing me softly. See, black men in America are suffering and quietly being cowards because they know they're not free, working and slaving for economic, let's just call this a stipend, really like a ration, really like a little meat off, it's like oxtails. You're not really getting no meat because, you know, when you eat oxtails, you're eating the tail of a donkey, son. You're not really getting any meat. But they have actually made a luxury out of oxtail What a catastrophe. How can we truly be free without justice? How can you really know what freedom is like without justice? There's no justice here in the world. There's no justice in America for the black man. There's no justice in Africa for black people. Every single where you go throughout the whole entire world, there is no justice. So how are you free? You're not free. You're living to survive. That's what you are. I don't care if you live in the suburbs of Virginia and you're black and you got some type of house or something. You're still not free. You're just living to survive, and you just have the ability to what? Survive a little comfortably? Silly you. You're a part of the collective population of oppressed and captivated Negroes. How can you be free and there's no justice? There's no justice. Did you see what they did to Ahmed Arbery? The young man was running in the neighborhood of a suburb. He was like your typical dork, black man. He was a dork. That's what he was. Because not all black men is like suave, right? No, you really have black dorks. He was really a black dork running in the neighborhood, and he got killed and murdered in a suburban white neighborhood. So if you in the suburbs thinking that you are somehow free, they'll get you there too. Silly Negroes. You don't. When you living in a neighborhood where you locking your doors, you can't be in no community, because in Africa I don't even think they lock their doors in some villages. In some villages in Africa, the door's wide open. Everybody knows each other. Kids running in and out the house. When you're living in a real community, you don't have that problem with locking your doors. But here in America, you're locking your doors. You don't even go to your neighbor for sugar. Your children don't really know each other because there's no story. If you lived in a neighborhood where there's a story, right? A story. Because like once upon a time, there was a time where black people, like I'm watching The Hidden Colors, right? Once upon a time, black people were this and that and this and that, and they were great. That's all The Hidden Colors 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 talk about. Once upon a time, there was a story where black people were so great, right? Because we had a story. And in that story, we had things that were economically beneficial to keep this story going so we can continue to stay on top, right? That's how it works. The white man is creating technology right now that's benefiting his story to keep us down and oppressed. So yeah, this technology that we're talking on, very cool. It's a tablet. Ooh, I can touch the screen. Wow, that's magnificent. But he's also able to use this technology to watch us. Surveillance. So it just adds on to his story for world global domination, right? The purpose of the white man is to have world global domination. So you create an economy that's going to continue to benefit this story of world global domination. So you see, everything he does is mathematics. If he's going to create an economy, he's going to make sure that economy is benefiting his what? Purpose, story. So they don't even get into businesses that don't have any benefit to their story. You get what I'm saying? This is called politics. This is what politics is all about. Yeah. One thing about black people is they're not political. They don't understand the game. They're not sharp thinkers. So you got a bunch of black people without a story or a purpose. So when you get money, you don't even know how to add that to your story. So what do you do for your entertainment? You're going everywhere else but the story, the purpose of why you have money. The whole purpose of having money and using your money is to benefit the story that you getting up, going to sleep for every single day. Why are you waking up? Why are you going to sleep? It's supposed to have a purpose. What is your purpose? What is your story? When you create an economy, that economy is supposed to benefit that purpose, that story, so that when you pass on it, when you give it to your kids, they're going to continue to further the agenda of that story that you told them. So once upon a time, there was a people living in West Africa, and that story was, look, we are the descendants of the Prophet Muhammad, and we have a story to tell, and this is how we're going to stay in power. This is the Sokoto Khalifa in Nigeria, the land of my forefathers. Is that there was an actual Islamic kingdom, all black, in West Africa before the white people come and colonized it. And their story, when they established that kingdom, was that we are the descendants of Muhammad. We are the Moors. And they built a kingdom, a government, on that story. So all the businesses that came out of that kingdom was all benefiting the government that told that story. So you get it? Now, if you're a businessman coming into the Sokoto kingdom with a business plan, and that plan better be in accordance to this story that I told to build this government that got all these people paying taxes. You see, that's how this thing works. When you got a story to kick, you got to get the people to believe in the story, which will then create jobs and businesses that will benefit this story or political lobbying. This is what they call lobbying, right? You're lobbying for something. Black people in America don't have a purpose or a story. They don't even know why they're getting money. Most people just living to survive. But whose story are they benefiting with that kind of mentality? The white man. Because the white man gave you that vision. That's called his American vision. Yeah, just keep on working, and then you can just survive for the rest of your life. And then what's going to happen is a couple of you Negroes are going to advance because you slaved so hard. I'm going to reward you for your slavery. So thank you for making my dream for you a reality. So then everyone who follows you in that quest for quasi freedom, this is not real freedom, is going to now give life to the American government, which is really trying to get global domination of all melanated people and keep you down and oppressed while they take the resources and shrink you from any opportunities to what? Sovereignize yourself. So black people are mostly following a false narrative, a false story. They don't have a purpose. So what happens is the economics that they created for themselves is not going to any divine purpose. And it's not collective, because now you live in the neighborhood with a bunch of other black people who don't have the same story or purpose as you. So what are you really creating? You're not creating an economy. You don't really have a solidified educational system. You don't have an educational system because all the young people in your community don't have the same story or purpose. So that means all the economics that you're making is not benefiting. You see how this thing is working? It's an entire system. But in this whole system that I'm kicking is political. This is politics. And I don't know. So this is my last proposition. You either gonna get with the Mahdi and understand how the game works, or y'all gonna just be the ones that hear you tucking in their fine. Period. Because I really don't have any more sympathy for you house Negroes anymore on the yard, on a plantation, acting like niggas. You have to have a purpose in the story to have a community. When you're building a community, you have to have a story. What is the story about this community? Every time you research an African tribe, they're going to tell you the story of the tribe. That's called history. Okay? When you black people are just making money and you have no story, what is your story? Then your economy that you create for yourself is not going to benefit anything that you think that you got going on with your life. It's only going to benefit the people who gave you the idea that you're having success. Period. You've been living a lie for how long? And here I am, a young man, waking your stupid behind up about something that you thought you knew, the game. All you've been doing is giving the white man life by playing a monopoly. That's what it is. It's a monopoly, fool. They even sold it to your children in a cardboard game. You need a purpose. First of all, before you do anything, this is Muhammad. That's the one thing I love about the Prophet Muhammad. He's one of the greatest revolutionaries of all time. That's why everybody hates the Prophet Muhammad, because he's the only one out of all the prophets to come from the bottom. He was a missionary, revolutionary like Malcolm, preaching. Then he became a refugee like Moses, right? Or should I say Joshua? And then he ran to another community who wanted to learn his philosophy and his purpose. They was like, yeah, we like your purpose and your philosophy. We want to be your military. And from there, the Prophet Muhammad had an uprising. He literally started an uprising, like a revolution, banging on anybody who had a problem with his story and purpose. From there, he created education, institutions, schools, so that he can educate anybody else who now wanted to be a part of this story that he just created. So he created, first he had a purpose, and that purpose he was preaching it, and he was able to gain a following in another city, who will then become his personal bodyguard, the military. And from there he had his first battle. From his first battle he developed schools and institutions, and from there he created an economy. So now every business that came out of the Prophet Muhammad's new city, the Medina, was now for the benefit of the story that he created. You get what I'm saying? So now economics, education, and your military are all working for one thing: the story, the purpose. This is divine. This is how you build a society, a government. But all your Christian churches, all your Muslim mosques, your little conscious communities, society, they never, ever talk like I'm talking right now, because they don't have the divine plan to freedom. This is how you get free. You must have a purpose. What the heck are you doing your money for? What are you doing your money game for? What is the purpose? You're donating, you're contributing to a society that doesn't even have your freedom in your best interest. From these 4 components, 3 other components come. I'm not going to tell them all because y'all don't deserve it. I worked hard for this. All praise due to Allah. I'm just a warner and a messenger, coming to tell you that y'all going to burn in the hellfire if you don't follow what I'm saying. Because there's no other solution. I'm the one who got the best solution. There's nobody right now in the United States who got a more divine plan like this to get free, true freedom. Nobody got it. I'm the only one who's talking this type of divine plan right here. 7 steps to freedom. Nobody is talking this. No Christian church, no Muslim mosque, nobody but me. Sarnetta, House of Consciousness, even JJ 7000 don't even talk like they don't have no plan to get free. Everybody right now is playing in the rat race. Everybody right now is doing the life to survive strategy. As a matter of fact, everybody's kicking knowledge for a profit, which is called knowledge hustling, or knowledge. It's like Sarnetta pimp hustling. Everybody's really playing that game. People are really playing TD Jakes on a low level. Because what was T.D. Jakes doing? You get a bunch of knowledge, and then you kick the knowledge to a mass bunch of people, but you don't want to have no liberation movement. You don't want to have no military, so you can free your people. So what happens is religious pimping is when you preach the doctrine but you don't practice it. That's what they're doing right now on the House of Consciousness. You got a bunch of different religions coming across the airway, but no one's talking about freedom. How are we going to get free from this oppressor? And who got the best plan? You're supposed to be selling the plan, which is the story or the purpose, which is supposed to be connected to spirituality, right? The purpose, the story, the plan is all connected to spirituality. This is how you unite people. When everybody agrees to the purpose, the plan, the story, then it's going to be easy to educate your kids, because now we all got the same plan. It's going to be easy to create jobs because we all got the same plan. It's going to be easy because now you're going to know where you're putting your money, because we all got the same plan. We all got the same purpose. We all want to see the same story coming to fruition.